Tonight on Golden Eagles Live, the football team snatched their 4-game skid, and the volleyball team bounces back from a tough loss at Wheeling Jesuit. Soccer loses to Gannon, and Toddy shines once again at the PSACs at Kutztown. She'll join me in studio to talk about it. Golden Eagles Live starts right now. And welcome to another episode of Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. I'm your host, Matt Contrillo, and joining me now for this block is Tyler DeGiacomo. Tyler, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. It's an honor and a privilege once again.
Oh, thank you, Tyler. Privileged to have you on here as well. Let's get right to it. It was a pretty good weekend for football as they get back on track, stabbing a 4-game losing streak at the hands of the Seton Hill Griffins, a 41-2 win. And Tyler, I know you've watched football a good portion of your life, and I have too, and I've never seen a game where I've seen special teams really been the critical point, the focal point of the game. 2 block punts for Clarion, resulting in touchdowns. Seton Hill got a blocked extra point, then ran it back for 2 points. So it was just a wild game, especially in the first half, but Clarion still pulls out way ahead. Yeah,
that was a very crazy game, Matt. I know you called the game for CUTV, and I was the engineer for the radio, so I listened to it. That was just a crazy game. Clarion didn't get their first offensive touchdown till late in the second half. The 2 blocks by Hauser and Lehman. No, Hauser and who was the other guy?
It was Matt Lehman.
Yeah. Lehman, my apologies. Doubting myself. The 2 blocks, and they scored touchdowns there. That was the only offense that Clarion had most of the first half. Then the block of the extra point. Very crazy game. Clarion looked pretty good. I don't take too much away after the 4-game losing streak that they were played Seton Hill. It was 0-7, now on a 21-game losing streak. I didn't take too much away, but Clarion did look good, and it's a good confidence booster going ahead.
Yeah, it's just good to get some positivity back in the locker room, Tyler. But I kind of agree with you there. I didn't think it was the best game from Clarion. I think there was still a lot of mistakes made. I think there were a lot of struggles offensively. So that's going to be a challenge again as they host IUP this week for Senior Day.
Yeah, I was late, and I'm calling the game for CUTV again, my shameless plug. But no, they look very good. But I think Foster's got to get back to that running game. He abandoned it during the 4-game losing streak. He's got to come back now. You know, Day, Carson, they got to run the ball. IUP is very, very susceptible to the run. So if they can pound the ball and run it about 40, 45 times or so between Carson and 2 running backs, I think that's probably going to be the key to success. Running the ball, pound it away, we're down at IUP front 4, and that's how Clarion's going to win this game.
Wow, you're calling it already.
Well, I think it'll be a very close game, a very low-scoring game. Clarion's going to take the air out of the ball, and I think that they're going to beat them this week. A very low-scoring game.
Well, you know what? IUP's has lost 2 out of their last 3, so it'll be an interesting game for sure on Saturday. Next, we go to the volleyball team as they bounce back versus Edinboro. A quick 3-0 sweep of them, 25-19, 25-20, and 25-16, respectively. Now 24-2 on the year. So once again, a nice bounce back for the volleyball team after they lost to Wheeling Jesuit a couple nights ago.
Yeah, they look very good. Probably Wheeling Jesuit was probably the best team that they played so far this year. And they showed a ton of weaknesses, and they got swept by them. But they got a big game tonight, but 2 big games next week, not to look too far ahead. But Monday, Tuesday, got very, very big games against Cal, and I'm blanking again.
Seton Hill.
Seton Hill. My apologies. Wow. They get back on the winning track. They're going to probably win tonight, win Saturday, and get back on winning track. It's still looking good. Emily Stewart's dominating kills. I know Seabold led Clarion in digs the other day. Hannah Huter was the PSAC female athlete of the week this year. So looking good. They're going to get back on winning track and smooth sailing to the playoffs, except for Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Morgan Seabold's play with 25 digs, leading a good defensive effort for Clarion. Got off to a 6-0 start in the first set, so a good bounce-back win for the volleyball team against Edinboro. And finally, the women's soccer team, a tough loss to Gannon on Saturday afternoon, a 2-1 loss, but a nice bright spot for the women's soccer team. Nikita Bonnell scoring her first goal of the season in the first half that tied the game at 1 before in the 86th minute. Gannon took the lead for good at 2-1 the final. So another tough loss, a tough day offensively again as the Golden Eagles were outshot 24-8, but only outshot 6-4 in shots on goal. So tough offensively, Tyler, but Nikita Bynel getting her first goal, so that's a plus in itself.
Yeah, that's very big bright spot. And as bad as the record looks at 4-8 a couple of times, it's actually the most points and most wins that the Clarion soccer team has gotten in history. So with all the injuries, suspensions, they did get Soares back now. A couple games, and they'll be there next year. So as bad as the record looks, they're actually on the way up. Coach Rob Eaton cannot say enough about him. He's a great coach, a great leader, and his girls really like him and respect him. So the soccer team's going up. Yeah,
no question, that Cassandra Soares coming back has definitely boosted this team. You can just tell she has a burst of energy of a personality, and you can clearly see that on the field. So I think that's really going to help the soccer team out. And this could be a good week this week with Bloomsburg Wednesday and Lock Haven on Saturday. That'll do it for this block here on Golden Eagles Live. Coming up next, Eddie McDonald is going to join me for the first time this year here on Golden Eagles Live. We're going to talk about the PSAC championships for the cross-country team at Kutztown, and talk a little bit more about the volleyball team's season as well as the football team getting back on track. That's all coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live. Back here on Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you, and joining me now is Eddie McDonald, who writes for the Clarion Call and also My Mind on Sports.com, a couple of professionals, and then Next Level SN. So you can see him all over the place online, writing on here on campus and also off campus for some professional sports. Eddie, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for the plugs.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I know you always enjoy that. So
I always enjoy it.
Well, Eddie, let's get to it. First, we go to the cross-country team. It's been a pretty good year for them this year. Just wrapped up the PSACs at Kutztown. The team, not a great finish for themselves, finishing 15th of 17 teams, but Megan Toddy leading the way once again. The only Golden Eagle in the top 50 to finish. She's finished 22nd with a time of 23:10.3. So your thoughts on how the cross-country team did this weekend?
Well, first off, congratulations to her, who will be joining you next. That's a great accomplishment, being 22nd at a big regional event, especially for a team that doesn't have a whole lot of girls. They only have 8 on the roster. So that's good to see that one can shine. And they had 5 in the top 100, which isn't necessarily terrible. It might sound terrible, but it's not. But Megan's been a good runner for the past 4 years. I've written her name about 4,000 times on Microsoft Word for the Clarion Call. So I've seen that she's grown as a runner over the years, and just shows a lot about her, how hard she works.
Yeah, absolutely, no question about it. Again, she's coming up next year on CUTV. Also, Mila Shaw had a pretty good ending with finishing 75th, and there's a couple other girls that have done well this year.
Wasn't she the scholar athlete of the team, I believe?
Yes, she was. Yeah.
So that's a good accomplishment. Like we were talking about in our sports podcast the other night, that we have a ton of athletes here on campus that get student athlete awards, and that's good. But yeah, she's been doing well. She's was she a sophomore or junior now?
Junior.
She's been improving each year she's been here, and she seems like one of the girls that are good on the team that are going to be here and help this team in the future.
That's one of the bright spots too, even though it's not necessarily on the fields. The great job that our athletes do in the classroom. The 136, I think it was last year, that were named scholar athletes. I know 14 in the volleyball teams, cross country team had a good number of girls in there. So really good to talk about that for sure. So the cross country team will get ready for the regionals championships coming up at Lock Haven. Again, we'll talk about that with Meg and Toddy next. Now we go to the volleyball team, Eddie. Taking care of business against the teams that they should beat, and a couple of quality good wins this year. It was a nice bounce back like I talked about with Tyler in the last block against Edinboro. But they're still struggling against the teams that they need to beat to go as far as they want to. We all talk about the great finish they had in 2010 going to the Elite Eight. But Wheeling Jesuit was the defending regional champs last year. They knocked Clarion out last year in the playoffs. They just beat Clarion again. You know, Clarion has had some good wins this year, like Juniata, for instance, a couple weeks ago. They were 20-3. Definitely the best record that Clarion has faced that they have beaten this year. So what are your thoughts on how the volleyball team can do to go take that next step?
You know, like they said, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, the lower teams. They're playing Slippery Rock tonight. It's actually right now. That should be a win for them. But teams like Wheeling Jesuit and Cal, they're two good teams. And they're just teams that they ran into, but they also get to see them again. They have Cal this Saturday here at home, which should be an excellent matchup. And a good thing about that is you get to see the improvement from one game to the next. They get to get a chance at revenge, if you will. They know what they did wrong. They can capitalize on that. And I think that's good going forward, especially seeing them again and then before the playoffs, because they might see both those teams in the playoffs.
I think the schedule really fits well this week for the volleyball team, Eddie. You know, Slippery Rock tonight should be a win, but again, a division opponent, so it'll pose a tough task for them. Seton Hill hasn't been very good, and they have them on Friday. And then Saturday, Cal U comes to town. So I guess my question to you, Eddie, is what is the missing link for this team against teams like Cal U and Wheeling Jesuit?
I know if there is a missing link. I think it's just keep working hard and keep practicing hard. Coach Mills always has these girls ready to play. They're always energetic to play. It's always fun to watch them play. They haven't lost very many sets this season, so when they do, it's sort of a shock to us. But they just have to keep working hard, and that's the biggest key for them. And if they continue to do that, they can not easily, but they can get to where they want to be.
I mentioned
past the Elite Eight.
Exactly, and I mentioned Morgan Siebel had a nice defensive game. I think defense and just simple communication is going to be so critical in the Cal U game on Saturday, but really going to be critical for them as they move down the stretch. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. Finally, the football team finally getting some positivity in the locker room. A tough 4-game losing streak, getting blown out in every game. Finally break the schneid on Saturday against Seton Hill. Granted, they were on a 20-game losing streak, now a 21-game losing streak. Winless this season, winless last season. 41-2 win. Eddie, I know that the quality of the opponent obviously isn't that great, but it's just good to finally get some positivity in the locker room for Clarion, getting a win, facing IUP next week.
Right, a win is a win, no matter who it is. They were supposed to beat this team. This team was not very good. You and I both saw that. And that's what Clarion's supposed to do. The offense was a little concerning. They didn't score, like Tyler said, in the first block until late in the second half. An offensive touchdown. They had great defensive performance. Special teams was great. Lehman had the block punt for a touchdown. Julian Hauser had 2 block punts. One was for a touchdown. He had 10 tackles. So it's a good win going into a team against IUP, who is very good each year in, year out. And it's going to be a hard game for them, but with a win and some momentum after a month of losing, it's going to be good for them, and hopefully they can turn things around even more. Yeah,
now I know we've harped on it during this 4-game losing streak, Eddie, but the running game really has struggled. And it struggled again last week, too, against the Seton Hill defense that's giving up almost 50 points a game. So I think that's definitely a concern against an IUP defense that was ranked number 1, but now has lost 2 out of their last 3, and they had a tough game last week, too. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of game plan we see from Coach Foster, knowing that.
Right, and it's going to be a run game from IUP. They're going to try and come in here and bully Clarion. They're going to try and assert themselves in the running game. If Clarion's front 4 can get after them and stop that, that's going to open up passing games for them. Hopefully the secondary steps up for Clarion. But the Clarion run game, it's been not terrible, but it's not been great.
Especially running in between the tackles. That's where it really matters most, and that's where it's been the worst at.
Right, and it's alarming sometimes because they run a read option, and it's alarming because Carson can either keep it or hand it off to the running back. And at the same time, if you can't get between the tackles, you're getting 2-3 yards. So then up 3rd and longs, 4th and longs, and that's not what you want to have happen.
Now, offensively, too, what's concerned me is also the play calling because, I know this is a run-first offense, and you run to pass with how this offense runs, but sometimes I think you just got to open it up down the field and just stretch the defense a little bit. And we know that we can do that because we've seen a couple of big bombs this year. You refer back to the Mercyhurst game, big 46-yard touchdown from Darrell Carson to Eric Fry. So you have a quarterback that has a live arm, much better than Ben Fiskus when he ran the offense, now that he's hurt and done for the year. Same with Matt Fukos if and when he comes in. So what are your thoughts on what Clarion can do in terms of just stretching the field a little more?
I think they should try and go deep a little bit more often. I mean, the run game obviously opens up the pass game, but it's not working that much for Clarion. I think they should try and do play action some, and they should try and go down the field because they can. They have a ton of great receivers. John Reed is tremendous. Dietrich is the tight end. He's assured catches over the middle every time he's thrown to him. So every time that happens, so I try and mix it up a little bit more because the play call, like you said, it's questionable at best, and hopefully they can get some passing in because Carson only had 63 yards passing on 5 of 40. He only had 14 attempts. That's not going to be very many games.
No, and the weather I know was really bad too. It's like 20-mile-an-hour gusts on Saturday. It was tough to kick the ball and throw the ball, but nonetheless a major concern. That's another point you bring up too, Eddie. The receivers. We really haven't seen much production from them the last 4 games. Mark Nicholas was the guy emerging the first 3 games, but haven't seen much from him. John Reed's been a total non-factor this year after the season that he had last year. So what are your thoughts on the receiving core?
They just don't get the ball enough. It's hard for them to get the ball when Clarion runs the ball 80% of the time. So I don't know. There's nothing against them. It's just they have to keep working hard, keep doing what they have to do, and hopefully Carson can get them the ball at some point.
Certainly will be an interesting game on Saturday for sure. And what also will be senior night for the football team, so be an interesting game on Saturday. Coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live, Megan Toddy will join me to talk about the cross-country season and her individual season as she now enters her senior year here at Clarion. That's coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live.
Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper. As a parent, you want to make sure that your child knows how to deal with bullying when they see it happening. And chances are they want to help, but they don't really know how. Well, teach them that the best thing to do is calmly walk away, find a teacher or other adult, and speak up. And do your part. Be that adult they can talk to and trust will listen. Join me to help stop bullying. Go to stopbullying.gov to find out more.
Can't find your one-of-a-kind ingredient? Looking to challenge your appetite with exotic flavor? Your search ends at 6th and Main's unique array of groceries and ingredients. Specializing in the not-so-widely available, 6th and Main is Clarion's supplier of the striking tastes that shape a stylish palate. With their varied styles and unmatched selection, 6th and Main has got the taste you have only dreamt about. Let your taste run wild at 6th and Main.
I got no pulse, we're losing him.
Charging. He's in VFib.
Shock him.
Drives it real all the time. Just had a few drinks. This can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear.
You just buzzed.
Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right, this isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shock him.
And we're back here on Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you, and joining me now and making her TV debut is Clarion Cross Country Runner Megan Toddy. Megan, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Megan, you finished 22nd at the PSCCs last week at Kutztown, and the team finishing 15th of 17 teams. So your thoughts on how you did and how the team did?
We were a little disappointed coming out of Saturday. We were really shooting for top 10. We got 10th last year in the conference. We didn't really know what to expect. It was a new course for us. We had run it once already this year, but kind of in different conditions. And we just had added 2 more teams to the conference. So it was a bigger race, and we were just kind of going in there just trying to do the best we could do as a team. I was a little disappointed in my own personal placement. I was told Coach made it pretty clear to us that it wasn't about time, it was about place this weekend. And I was really shooting for all conference, which is top 20.
Right.
So I missed it by 2 places, and I'm trying not to dwell on it because we have regionals ahead, so we just got to keep pushing forward to the end of the season.
And speaking of regionals, with that coming up in a couple of weeks at Lockhaven, what are your expectations for yourself then and for the team?
We really want to improve our place, which is possible. Usually we add a couple more teams in the region, but the PSAC teams are by far the strongest. so it's kind of going to be the same kind of race for us. I placed all region last year, so I'm really hoping to place all region again this year. That's my goal that I have set for next Saturday, and I'm really excited and really nervous for it. So.
Yeah, we're all excited to see how you guys can do. Always been great to watch you personally and the rest of your teammates for sure. Now you won the Slippery Rock Invitational just by 22 seconds. So tell us what was going through your mind as you were crossing the finish line, getting close to that point.
That was the first cross country race I'd ever won, and my whole family was there, so it was really exciting. I actually crossed the finish line, and the first thing I said was I told my dad I didn't like leading the race, because I usually like to chase people. That's what the race is about for me. So I wasn't used to being up front, and I wasn't used to leading the race. So it was definitely an exciting experience. It was really rewarding for my senior year to have a win under my belt. So
oh, I'm sure, definitely. I wouldn't like to be chased either. I want to be chasing.
Yes, yes.
With this being your senior season, have you taken any time to soak everything in?
A few times it's hit me that I only had so many races left. The cross country season is pretty short. We only have about 6 or 7 races. The whole season's been building up to our conference and regional races, so that's usually the most important, the focal points of our season. But I'm not really feeling it yet because I know I have 2 more seasons, indoor track and outdoor track, to look forward to. So I'm going to try not to let it slow me down. But yeah.
So what has Coach Pavino meant to you throughout your whole career?
Oh, he's absolutely amazing. He's like a father figure. My whole family kind of jokes around about that. We're like a big family on the team, the track team and the cross country team. He'll do anything for us. He takes care of us. He'll do anything that we need him to, and he pushes us hard as a coach, and he's also there if we need anything that doesn't have anything to do with athletics. So he's been absolutely amazing. So.
No, I know Coach Pavino's been a big part of your success and the rest of your teammates, and I know you guys are really close. So just what have your teammates meant to you in the last couple of years?
Oh goodness, well they are my families. We're all really, really close, and it's going to be really tough leaving them behind. I've had to say goodbye to a lot of my close teammates in the past, and it's going to be different being the one leaving. It's hard to believe I'm a senior, but I know the team's in good hands. We have a lot of strong juniors that will be good leaders next year, and hopefully they'll be just as strong.
Time flies by when you're having fun. That's what they always say.
I guess so, yeah. I guess so.
And finally for you, are you satisfied with your accomplishments from your collegiate career here? And if not, what else do you want to see yourself accomplish?
I'm kind of shocked by myself, actually. I'm really happy thus far. I kind of surprised myself by making it to nationals last year in the steeplechase. So I kind of have my sights set on that for the outdoor track season again. But as far as cross country and track both went, I mean, I didn't have near the expectations that I think my coach had for myself and my parents had, and they were able, all of them, to push me enough. So most of the credit goes to them more so than to me. So I'm really happy with it. So.
Well, we're really happy with everything you've done here in Clarion the last couple of years, and really happy with, especially with the win at Slippery Rock. I'm sure you are too. So looking forward to how you guys do at the regionals coming up in Lock Haven in a couple of weeks. And thanks for coming on the show, Megan.
Oh, thank you so much.
And coming up next year on Golden Eagles Live, Tyler DeGiacomo and Eddie McDonald will rejoin me, and we'll give our predictions for this week and upcoming in Clarion sports. Keep it right here on CUTV.
Welcome to my block party. Glad you can make it.
The only triple doubles you get come with fries.
I can do this all day. Your moves are just gay.
Using gay to mean dumb or stupid, not cool.
Not cool.
Not in my house, not anywhere. It's not creative, it's offensive to gay people, and you're better than that.
At Sheetz, your favorite meal on the go is just a touch away. The MTO, or made-to-order menu, is the perfect way to quickly get food that will satisfy any craving. Don't worry about trying to decide which fast food restaurant will satisfy your taste. Sheetz' wide variety of choices and simple ordering system makes the decision easy. For those especially hectic days when time is at a premium, Sheetz also offers the MTO to-go case with quick grabs. Sheetz is conveniently located at 1281 East Main Street in Clarion.
You didn't give up on sex, Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
Welcome back to Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you, and Eddie McDonald, Tyler DeGiacomo rejoining me. And now, guys, we're going to give our game predictions for the upcoming week in Clarion sports. First, Tyler, I'll start with you. How does the football team do on Saturday against IUP? I know you kind of gave it away a little bit, but officially, what are your thoughts?
Officially, I think they might pull that. Be a very good game. I'm probably more thinking with my heart than my head, but I'm guessing maybe like a 16-13 game. And I think Phil Esposito will resurrect himself. I had a bad last 2 weeks, missing field goals. I think he's going to be the hero of this week's game.
You know, and he's been there, done that. First game against Kutztown, he has been struggling, so I like that. I really hope you're right, because none of us like IUP. Who doesn't, as long as you're on this Clarion campus? Eddie, what are your thoughts?
I'm picking with my heart just like he did. And I think Clarion can pull it out. I think if they can stick to their game plan, if they can stop the run and don't let them come in here and bully them on the run on the ground, and they can run the ball themselves, I think they can be just fine. I think if they, like we talked about earlier, if they get the downfield plays, I think they're going to be just fine. And a big win coming, obviously, is a big win for them because they haven't won in a month, but a big win beating a not-so-good team, going to a better team. So senior night, I think the seniors are going to pull this one out for themselves, and especially for Fiscus, who doesn't get to enjoy the season with them due to his injury.
That's right, yeah, definitely a shame for Ben not to be able to play homecoming and now obviously not being able to play for senior year, being out for the rest of the season. And guys, I'm not as optimistic. I really hope you guys are correct, because I really would love to see a win against IUP. I still haven't seen it yet in my career here. But I just think, I know IUP's defense has kind of struggled the last couple of weeks, and they were number one. But I just think it's still going to be too tough for Clarion, because I just don't trust Clarion's run game right now. I think there's still a lot of issues that they have to work out, especially running in between the tackles, and that just seems to be how the coaching staff really wants to go as far as the play calling is concerned. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. So I think we can stick with them, because I think the defense is going to play well, put in one of their best performances of the season. But I think it'll be a game where Clarion hangs around and IUP will pull ahead. So I will say a 23-13 final is my official prediction, IUP. Next we go to women's soccer, who's at Bloomsburg on Wednesday, and then versus Lock Haven on Saturday night after the football game for their senior night. Eddie, I'll start with you.
Well, first off, it's weird that they go on the road on a Wednesday night all the way out east. You'd think the PSAC would want them
That's such a tough road trip.
You'd think they would want them to stay closer to home on Wednesday so they can get their schoolwork done, but obviously that isn't the case. So I can see them either tying or they can fall on the road because it's a long road trip, like you said. That's a trip that not many people really want to take. It's closer to your home, so you see it more often than we do. But
about a 3-hour trip from here.
Yeah, and that's just not what you want on a Wednesday night. So hopefully they can pull that one out. I think Saturday they get the win at home for senior night. So I'm going to go tie and win. And they're going to break their records of what they have for school history.
Okay, I like it. I think that's really the one thing they have left to play for, since obviously they're out of playoff contention. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
I have to agree with my man, Mr. McDonald. Both very winnable games. Wednesday could be tough. As Eddie said, they're traveling. It's a far drive. May get a little lackluster, but that is a winnable game. The only thing that'll hold them back maybe is the fatigue. Saturday definitely is a winnable game, A, and B is senior night, so there's extra juice. So I think they definitely win Saturday, no matter what. Wednesday, yeah, could be a tie. The only thing might be that fatigue, but both were very winnable games.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You know, Bloomsburg's been a struggling team in the PSAC, so that's definitely a winnable game. But again, like you guys mentioned, the travel certainly makes it more difficult. And it's senior night. Lock Haven has been an up-and-down team all year. I think Clarion sweeps this whole week. I really do think so. I like it a lot. So we'll see if they can do that this upcoming week. Volleyball is playing right now against Slippery Rock. So then they have Seton Hill on Friday, and then the big one, Cal U on Saturday. Tyler, I'm going to start with you. How do we do?
I think it's going to be wins. I think they revenge their loss against Cal Saturday. So it's simple as that. It's going to be sweeps. I know, I understand, but it's just going to be sweeps, and they're going to beat. Cal beat them. I know that. They're going to get the revenge at home.
I like it. Eddie, what do you think?
I agree with him. I think they're going to win tonight. They're probably winning right now as we speak. And I think they're going to sweep the weekend. I think they're going to get their revenge on Cal. I think it's going to be one of those things where it was Cal got the best of them at their place. Now they get to come up here for a long trip for them. And I think that they can win, and it's going to be a big stepping stone to see where they're at in terms of playoffs.
No question about that. Definitely, I think the game of the year thus far for Clarion against Cal. Again, a team that's been a thorn in their side. I think they sweep this whole week. I think they win tonight. I think they win Friday against Seton Hill, and I think they will come back and beat Cal. That'll be another 3-2 game. Like I said before, I think the schedule, the way it is this week, is perfect for Clarion. They get some momentum going. You know, they should be able to beat teams they should be able to beat, but yeah, quality wins because they're division opponents. I think it goes right into a good game for them on Saturday night against Cal U. And then finally, the men's and women's swim teams are at Carnegie Mellon on Saturday. Tough start for the women as they lost their opener, but a good start for the men's team. So what are you guys' thoughts? Tyler, we'll start with you.
Yeah, not much. This was the second meet of the year. You don't know. They came off a pretty decent season last year for both the teams. So it's second meet in the year. Not sure how they're going to do. I hope they do good. I think they'll do well. Maybe not as a team, but a couple very good individual swimmers. So second meet out, and we'll see how a lot of young players on the team, like young swimmers. We'll see how they react in the second meet of the year.
Eddie, what do you think?
I'm agree with him. Obviously, it's a young season. Multiple more meets to go this season, and the men had an impressive win. The women didn't have so much luck. I think they can turn it around. I think the men continue winning. They've swam well at Carnegie Mellon over the past couple of seasons, so I think if they don't win, they're going to do very well.
Yeah, I think the men can get the win against Carnegie Mellon. Both programs are very good, but I think the women's are still going to struggle a little bit. You know, as I mentioned, they have a very good program at Carnegie Mellon, so I really think that I think men's will win again, just barely. I think the women's are going to falter a little bit, but I still doesn't. I'm not saying that it's going to be a tough year for the women's whatsoever. I think just the way the schedule is, this will be a tough 0-2 start for the women's, but then I think they'll get back on track because obviously these are very good programs and they're just getting started. So I think it's going to be a pretty good weekend here for Clarion Sports. But we're really looking forward to Saturday. Saturday's going to be a huge day in Clarion Sports. Football against IUP, and then the volleyball team against Cal U. And the women's soccer team playing Lock Haven. So it's good.
And the men's basketball team.
And the men's basketball teams starts their season exhibition against Duquesne. So Saturday's gonna be a fun day in Clarion Sports for sure. And next week here on Golden Eagles Live, we're going to have a big preview show for both the women's basketball team and the men's basketball team as they start their seasons in the next couple of weeks here. The press conference is tomorrow out at Gemmel, so we'll have the recap of both press conferences, a couple one-on-ones with the coaches and players. So should be an interesting show next week. Definitely don't want to miss that on Golden Eagles Live. Tyler and Eddie, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
And thanks to our crew here at CUTV. Don't forget, next week, basketball recap. It's going to be a very good show for sure next week. For all of our crew here at CUTV, I'm Matt Catrillo. Have an Eagle-tastic night.